Hey everybody. For this week's edition of Overdrive Radio for February 16th, 2026, we're dropping in with our very first trucker of the month of the year. West Virginia headquartered Top Notch Transport and its owner-operator Patrick White, who trucks today in a beautiful 2001 Peterbilt 379 hauling a variety of equipment on a step deck. Who tells a story of perseverance through accidents, through injuries, and building a team around him to excel despite the barriers fate's thrown at him. I'm Todd Dills, and owner-operator White here is in conversation with our esteemed senior editor Matt Cole, who wrote the feature story about White when he was named Overdrive's first trucker of the month for January for the 2026 program. You'll hear Matt Cole's voice here asking the questions, and it's in response to one of those that White emphasized the gratitude he felt to his own team, most notably his wife, Ashlyn, managing many aspects of the business, and who nominated him for the award. Cole asked for a piece of advice for new and or expiring owner-operators.
Don't give up, don't listen to negative people, and learn everything you can learn from the old guys.
But that's not all Patrick White said on that front.
Have a very supportive wife or somebody that is there for you. Yep, even if it's just a friend. But the main thing is listen to the older guys that's been out here. You know, that's what I did. She does everything with drive. She helps me with the load. She helps me with the dispatching. She does all the paperwork and compliance with the business. I don't do any of that. She's the rock. She's the foundation of the business, basically. And she really is.
As with the vast majority of our Trucker of the Year contenders, trucker should be a plural in this case. Truckers of the Year. For the team behind the White's top-notch transport business, trucking with authority now for getting on a decade. After the break, we'll dive in with Patrick telling his early story with much more detail about just how he got to where he is today.
One thing about it, it's a passion. You got to have a drive to make it. If you don't have the passion and the drive to make it, you'll never survive.
Much more where that came from. Keep tuned.
Winter doesn't wait, and neither should you. Treat now with Howe's Diesel Treat to prevent your fuel from gelling, and keep using it at every fill-up this winter to make sure you're always running strong when the cold sets in. But if you waited too long to treat your fuel and get hit with a winter emergency, Howe's Diesel Lifeline works fast, reliquefying gelled fuel and de-icing frozen filters to get you moving again. Stay prepared with complete winter readiness from Howe's. Prevention and rescue trusted by drivers everywhere, because downtime isn't an option.
Visit HOWES, HowesProducts.com for more information about Howe's full line of fuel treatments and other products. Here's Patrick White, harking back to his earliest memories of trucking inspiration.
Whenever I was a kid, we lived close to a sawmill in West Virginia, and I'd watch the trucks go up and down the road. I knew from the time I was walking I was going to be driving, so a lot of my family drives. And I started driving off-road when I was like 17, pulling logs down off the mountain. I did a little bit of everything. Whatever they needed me to do. I pulled flatbed, vans, logs, lumber, bulk tank, whatever they needed. They did all sorts of stuff. Always been a dream of mine, just to be my own boss and do my own thing and do things my own way.
So you started Notch Transport in 2019, is that right?
Yeah, with this company right here, we started this company in 2019.
Top Notch Transport isn't White's first rodeo as an independent owner-operator, his prior effort ending with a divorce some years back.
I started that in 2005. I did that for, I would say 7 years. Then I went to work for Contenders Trucking, and then I started my own business again with my new wife.
You know, how did you guys come to that decision to start the company, and what kind of work did you decide to jump into at that point?
Well, I was working for a local company here, and they wasn't treating me right, and I just got tired of the trucking companies, the way they treat their drivers. So we decided to strike out on our own. We had all of our ducks in a row. We had customers and hauling and everything we needed to get started. The place I was working, I was kind of the truck boss. I handled all the hauling and the trucks, and I trucked, and when I left, that hauling came with me, whether I wanted it to or not. So they wasn't going to work with the other company because they'd been working with me. I've got a 2001 379 Peterbilt. I've had it for 3 or 4 years. 2016 Transcraft step deck I've had for 2 years.
And what kind of truck did you start the business with?
Actually, the same thing, a 2001 Peterbilt. It was just a
Oh,
different
really?
one. Yeah.
How'd you wind up finding another one of the same model year to jump into?
I repossessed it for a friend of mine and ended up buying it. We still have some of our same customers. A lot of the people we was working for didn't survive the economic fall of the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we got some of the old and a lot of new.
As a one truck operation, how do you approach businesses to sell them your services? What what sets you apart to these guys that makes them want to do business with you?
We negotiate fair rates. We deliver what we promise,
mm-hmm.
and we go above and beyond. I make it a point to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
What the expectations are, because that's how you keep business and that's how you gain new business.
So are you working with brokers at all, or?
As little as possible. I try to steer clear. We have a couple of good brokers that I really like working with, but a lot of our stuff is going back direct again. So I've got people I've hauled for off and on for 20 years, whether it be my truck or somebody else. We've been blessed to see more good than bad, and been blessed to be able to stay in business. We do all of our own mechanical work. Everything is done in-house. I think that's really saved us from the downfall. And I've seen a lot of people going out, and it's been tough. It's been tough. It's the worst years of trucking I've seen since I started driving a truck. But with my wife helping me do every aspect of this business, and we both have the same drive, we've managed to make it.
Owner-operator Patrick White and all of you got a reminder of just how tenuous a business's success can be last year when Ashlyn White got in touch with Matt Cole about an accident that saw her husband break a leg after falling more than 10 feet from the top of a load where he was freeing an edge protector at unload. The forklift driver apparently didn't register the fact that he was up there, though White did his best to communicate with him, of course. The forklift just kept coming, moving under a skid and bumping the trailer, causing White to lose his balance and fall. Turns out, it wasn't the first time something similar happened to him.
Yeah, that didn't happen once. That happened twice. That happened to me back in 2005. I broke the left leg, and then in 2025, I broke the right leg.
Oh,
and I owned trucks both times. All I could do was stay off of it until I could, get in and out of the truck, which first time I broke my leg, I think I was down for 2 weeks. And I was able to get back in the truck. And then this last time, it was 3 weeks, and I was able to get back in the truck. The thing is, the only reason I could do what I did, though, was because my wife did all the hard stuff. She got out, she strapped the load, she tarped the load, she did everything I couldn't do, and I drove the truck. And we had some good friends that helped us too, and family. They helped us through financially and emotionally and everything. They stood behind us 100%. But if it wouldn't have been for her, I would have never made it through it. Like with the business, I would have lost it because, like I said, she was doing everything herself. All I was doing was driving the truck.
Having that happen to you twice, have you changed the way you approach those situations, or is that just part of the business and something you have to do?
It's part of the business. It's just, when you have to let tarp, you have to get up there and tarp. And if the places you're tarping don't offer fall protection or any kind of help, it's got to be done. And it's the risk of it. It could happen at any time, just one careless move by somebody else or careless move by yourself for that matter, you'll come off the trailer.
With this most recent injury, that forklift operator's errant move also meant owner-operator White can thank his wife, Ashlyn, for his life, he said, as others on the scene did virtually nothing to render any aid.
If it wouldn't have been for my wife being there then, I would have bled to death because it cut an artery in my leg, and she actually stuck her hand up in there and pinched the artery off. But yeah, they offered nothing at all, nothing. You
had to have surgery pretty much immediately. They put a rod in your leg, and what was the rehab process like on that? I
got back in the truck and done my own rehab. I went to the doctor one time for a follow-up, and that's all I've done. I mean, I can't, I have kids, and this business is all of our lives, and I had no choice but to put myself back out there. I mean, I want to survive. I want to make it, and I want to leave. I want something to leave to my kids.
Yeah.
So That was my rehab, going back to work.
Top Notch Transport's refocused in the last year to more regional work from their West Virginia home base after some prior longer hauls that took White all over the country, even out west. Here's how the owner-operator describes the principal reason for that shift. Not a result of last year's accident, really, but...
well, we was going to have a baby.
Well, that'll do it.
Yeah, but we still try to stay closer to home. My dad's up in his 80s, and he's doing good, don't get me wrong, but, I want to stay close for him. And, and we've kind of figured out that it doesn't matter what you're doing with the way things are in trucking today. You're going to come out with the same amount of money whether you go cross country or if you stay in a few states, which we run Florida to Maine and out to Iowa. That's pretty much our operating area now. We don't go much past Iowa anymore. Mostly switcher trucks. We do a lot of switcher trucks for like the warehouses. We do a lot of that kind of stuff. Equipment, basically, a lot of equipment. And that's pretty much it. We really don't fool with anything else much. We try to stay away from tarping as much as we can now. So,
yeah, I don't blame you there.
But I will tarp if I have to. But I try not.
Trip out for Patrick White might extend as long as a couple of weeks, though he might get home more regularly if it lines up. Keeping closer to home base helps in ways other than being there for the extended family, too, given that maintenance work you heard him mention earlier. How do he work his way into handling most all of that himself? Here's how he described it to Matt Cole.
Honestly, I just started tearing them apart and putting them back together because I couldn't afford a mechanic when I first started. So, trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got some friends that are really good, truck mechanics, and they help me a lot. One friend in particular, if I'm stumping on something, I'd always call him and he'd walk me through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I just kind of stepped into it because, I couldn't afford to pay the shop rates and definitely can't now. But yeah, and besides that, I like doing my own work. The quality of work in shops has went downhill the last 15 years. I know if it's done here, it's done right and it's safe. It's not going to come apart and hurt anybody.
Do you have a dedicated shop on your property that you can that you park the truck in and are able to work on it?
Do everything outside. We rebuild motors. We do transmissions. We do rear ends. We do trailer work. We do everything. Honestly, I look for this to be a good year. I really do. I mean, trucking's kind of got its cycles. Anybody's been in it for a while knows that. And we should be coming to the end of this bad cycle. It should be, it's time for the upswing, and we're just patiently waiting for it.
Yeah.
What I've seen the most of is the amount of phone calls we get, just people needing hauling done. Like, things are moving good right now.
The near-term future is looking bright for owner-operator Patrick White. Longer-term, too, with any luck, he noted, despite the accident putting a big dent in the progress he'd made on emergency and longer-term retirement savings, he said.
Yeah, I've been thinking about in that direction here for a while, but I haven't been able to start anything yet. We just, what we did have saved kind of got ate up with the accident and the doctor bills. And but, I'm hoping that, the business survives and my kids are growing up and they can step in and, we can keep this thing going.
And even amidst the headwinds and the difficulties he sees so many other owner-operators experience with the profusion of bad business among plenty freight entities out there.
Cheap freight. I mean, it's still out there. And bad brokers. Bad brokers is the number one problem with the trucking industry. Bad brokers is why 80% of these companies start up and fail. These guys come into this, these young guys come into this with all the hopes and dreams, and they wasn't lucky like I was and was able to start with their own customers. They're coming in this trying to live off load boards, and no, there needs to be a cap on them, as to what they can do, and the transparency thing needs to be actually enforced. Yeah, 20% cap and true transparency. Yeah, and in my opinion, Freight Guard needs to be done away with because that's a one-sided deal right there.
Have you had any bad experiences with it?
We got Freight Guard at one time over a woman. The broker didn't understand what we was saying, and I was trying to explain it to her back and forth in an email, and she misinterpreted what I said as me calling her stupid, and I got a Freight Guard, which I fought it and got it off of there. But the thing is, they can file Freight Guard on us, and we're kind of helpless, and it really does mess you up. We fought it, and it was obvious what I was saying, but she misinterpreted it. I wasn't trying to call her stupid.
Right.
I was trying to explain the situation because she didn't understand what she was talking about. She was a new broker, and you know, I guess her butt was on fire. She had to make a point, and you know, that was how she did it.
It's not an uncommon experience. White's detailing there, making reference to the Carrier 411 company's Freight Guard product. Basically, Freight Guard's a bad review of your business from a broker that can then be seen by other brokers. Search Freight Guard, all one word, on overdriveonline.com for ways to avoid and or mitigate the damage that can be incurred. How'd White handle it? Well, pretty common avenue for dispute. Probably the best one we've seen if you have a clear case of misunderstanding like this one.
I called the owner of the brokerage and explained the situation to him, sent the emails to him and everything, and he and I talked back and forth 2 or 3 times, and it was done.
Yeah.
He said, no problem. He said, I see no problem with the way you worded this. He said, I think our employee made a mistake. I'm not the type of guy that's going to mistreat somebody or talk down to somebody. I mean, you know, that's not what I was intending.
Big thanks to owner-operator Patrick White for his time, to Ashlyn White for nominating him in their top-notch transport step deck operation, and Overdrive's Trucker of the Year award program for 2026. You can get in the running for 2026 yourself via overdriveonline.com/toptrucker. I'll post that link in the show notes. At this point in the year, we've got 9 more semi-finalist Trucker of the Month slots left for deserving owner-operators. Nominate yourself or another you admire. Up to 3 trucks. Again, that's overdriveonline.com/toptrucker. You can find that link in the show notes wherever you're listening. Overdrive Radio is on Spotify and SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, Overdrive's Facebook page, and any listening platform, really. Leave us a review there if you're enjoying these, and big thanks in advance for it. Big thanks, as always, for listening. Overdrive Radio is a production of Overdrive, the voice of the American trucker. It's edited and produced by me, Todd Dills, with the acoustic guitar and other supportive trucker-songwriter Long Haul Paul Marhofer. The theme is Legend of the Snake Man by Marhofer, featuring the guitar work of Travis, Snake Man himself, Wannick, Terry Two Socks Richardson on bass, keys by Tishomingo Jim Whitehead, on drums Andrew Marshall. The podcast is backed up further by Overdrive's on social media coordinator Jasmine Campbell, senior editor Matt Cole, who we heard from today, executive editor Alex Lockie, and video editors Lawson Rudisell and Andrew Glenn. See you next time.